What's going on, sci-fi fans? My name is Ben and welcome back to another episode of Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Today we are pushing forward on the Revell 1/4000 scale Imperial Star Destroyer, and I'm really excited to see what we can do today. Now I'm pretty sure that we're going to start assembling parts and pieces, but I'm going to leave a few things off, like these clear parts for the thrusters. I'm not going to put those onto the very end. I'm going to have to work a little bit on this here because I don't want to clog up the speaker or the button or interfere with the battery compartment at all. The engines are ready to rock, as well as the thrusters, so we are good there. Last episode we went ahead and we overcoated the entire ship in 3D panels that I made out of strips of styrene. Those look pretty neat. I like it, adds a little bit of interest to it. So we are ready to go ahead and start priming. Now I haven't assembled the entire ship. Really, honestly, it's only two pieces, the top half and the bottom half. Those are the main parts here of this particular model. So we're not really too worried about it. I've already test fitted together. Seems to be fine. Everything really has gone together quite nicely, so I'm happy about that. The underside of the ship as well, we have the armor plating. I worked really hard on those seams surrounding all the little display stands that are built into the model, so I think those will turn out pretty decently. We have to go ahead and slot this part right here into the back of the Star Destroyer. We're not going to glue it down though. I'm going to leave most of this kind of snap tight because if I ever have to get in there to do anything, I want to be able to pull the kit apart just in case. So let's go ahead and jump into a time lapse here, guys. We're going to start off with priming all the parts and pieces. We're going to do them individually and then we'll just throw them all together and we'll see where we go from there. So let's grab our Stynylrez primer, drop it into the airbrush, and let's see what we can do. Alright everybody, here we go with a fully primed Star Destroyer. This is looking pretty awesome. So now we have to move on to paint. Now I've been looking a little bit at what actual color to paint this thing, and to be honest, I'm not really sure. In the movies I heard that they were actually white, but I don't want to go ahead and paint this white. I want to stick with the gray scheme because that tends to be what we mostly see. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try to mix up my own colors, and I'm going to attempt to maybe use some neutral gray and some white, or maybe some sky gray and some white. I'm just going to play around with different colors and try to layer them to have some sort of an interesting look about them. But first, I want to go ahead and do some pre-shading, marble coating, and I want to use NATO black for some contrast. So let's go ahead and push on with the marble coating, and we'll get some pre-shade going as well. So let's keep on keeping on. Alright everybody, so we have the entire Star Destroyer all nicely pre-shaded with NATO black and also marble coated with NATO black as well, and it's looking actually really cool. But now we're going to have to go ahead and move over to the base coat, and for that color I'm going to be using a custom mixture of white and neutral gray. I'm going to do mostly white and just a little bit of neutral gray to go ahead and knock it down a few shades, and then I'm going to overcoat the entire ship. Now once that's done, I'm going to come back with, again, maybe some white or some really light gray, and I'm going to go over all the raised parts. So like the conning towers and the shield generators and then any sort of 3D detail on the hull. I'm going to go ahead and go over all of that and around the edges to give it a little bit of interest. After that, I'm going to come in, I'm going to try something called tiling. At least that's what I think it's called. And it's a process of basically using some sort of a mask and then airbrushing along the edges of certain panels. We're going to see how that goes. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. Let's push forward and let's just see what we can do. Alright everybody, we are back, and as you can see we have a mostly painted Star Destroyer. Everything is looking pretty interesting, I have to say. We've got a pre-shade with NATO black, we've got all our marbling coats with NATO black that's showing through here and there. We've got our base color of our custom made super light gray, as well as an even lighter gray for the highlights, and then we tried something that I believe is referred to as tiling, where we went in and we tried to highlight certain panel edges. It looks a little stark right now, but I think once I start applying my weathering coats, once I start applying maybe a nice light wash of some sort, maybe go over it with a little bit of even lighter gray just to kind of blend it all together, I think it's going to be pretty neat looking. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it quits. I want to make sure this is fully dry before I come back and start painting like the thrusters, before I start doing the detail painting or dropping the guns in. I want to really make sure everything is nice and cured. But I think we're good for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on episode number 3 for our Star Destroyer. But we have a lot more to do, so next episode we'll come on back, see what other trouble we can cause. Until then, though, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 4 for the finale of the 1/4000 scale Revell Star Destroyer. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.